In the news this week, an exclusive report on Australian men's uphill battle against domestic violence.
Plus another exclusive feature, how Muslims are fitting in Australian society.
This is the Evening News with Ivan Lung and Daniel Staniscov.
Good evening. Australian men have become the forgotten victim of domestic violence, with figures showing 1 in 3 facing frequent abuse. In an exclusive interview, a domestic violence legal practitioner admits many sufferers aren't speaking out due to the stigma around men being seen as victims. Cassandra Elliott begins our coverage.
Women are always seen as victims of domestic violence, but what about the men? Research from 2012 ABS stats show that males make up a significant proportion of domestic violence victims, with 1 death every 10 days from domestic homicide incidents. Shirley McMurdo from the Domestic Violence Legal Clinic says many male victims aren't speaking out about the abuse due to the stigma around men being seen as victims.
It's difficult for people to believe that they've actually been a victim. And often those are the people who are sad statistics, these men, because they end up basically suiciding.
Many domestic violence victims aren't getting the help they need due to a lack of financial means to pay for legal services. Premier Colin Barnett says the state government have a number of initiatives aimed at tackling this problem.
The state government, the Commonwealth and all state governments are making a huge effort to try and reduce the rate in incidents of domestic violence.
1 in 3 is the current government campaign aiming to shed light on family domestic violence, but Ms McMurdo admits that funding appropriate government services for victims would be costly. Cassandra Elliott, WAMN News.
An Egyptian-Danish Muslim photographer has shared his story of trying to fit into Australian society, yet struggles from discrimination and integration. In this week's exclusive feature, he expressed his hope for change with reporter Nelson Liu.
It's Mohammed Morzi's story about fitting in Australia, but it tells the experiences of many immigrants arriving in the country.
The big thing coming here to Australia was buying a home, and saying, well, this is where I am, this is where I live. And it's not that different from any other home.
Telling his story at Midland Story Corner, the photojournalist and author shared his life from Denmark to Australia, which has been made difficult because of his ethnicity.
In Australia, I have not managed to hold one permanent job. All my work has been overseas as a photojournalist.
Mohammed says different ethnicities and religions are also struggling to find their place in Australian society.
I don't feel that Australia is integrating its different ethnicities. I don't feel that's the current climate.
One Nation Party Senator Pauline Hanson voiced her concerns about Muslim immigration during her speech in Parliament last month, worrying activists because of terrorist stereotyping.
They're conflating people who come by boat with terrorism, which is a disproved fact.
They also want greater inclusion of ethnic groups coming to Australia.
Immigrants say stereotyping their ethnicity and religion has created social problems in Australia, and activists say more could be done to create equality and remove barriers.
Nelson Liu, WAMN News.
The government announced the return of aerial shark patrol this week as the state prepares for the arrival of summer. Lucas DePaz has a summary.
Fisheries Minister Joe Francis announced at a press conference along with Premier Colin Barnett that shark area patrols resume this week. These patrols aim to locate sharks from the sky to warn beachgoers before going into the water. The rescue team spoke of the benefits on the area patrol being used as part of the new Shark Smart initiative.
When we do see a shark, we can report that to our surf command straight away, and they can update the website.
What we can do is do what is humanly possible to try and make the beach safer or the ocean safer, no matter whether you're a diver, a surfer or a swimmer or anything else for that matter.
Police are calling for anyone who has had previous dealings with murdered Chinese woman Annabelle Chen to come forward and provide information. Authorities stress the investigation is still underway despite her ex-husband and daughter were arrested and charged over the murder. The 65-year-old Ah Ping Ban and the 25-year-old Tiffany Yi Ting Wan will face court again in October.
We would certainly like if any of the natural medicine practitioners had any dealings with her to come forward and speak to us about any treatments that she may have received from them.
Former beauty queen Alicia Mercado, who supports Hillary Clinton, slammed Donald Trump for his verbal attacks. Ms. Clinton has also responded, calling Mr. Trump unhinged. It comes after Mr. Trump shamed Ms. Mercado for her sexual history, which sparked a storm on Twitter. He also accused Ms. Clinton of helping Ms. Mercado of obtaining US citizenship during the debate.
He called this woman Miss Piggy. Then he called her Miss Housekeeping because she was Latina. Donald, she has a name.
Where did you find
her
this?
name
Where
is
did you find
Alicia
this?
Machado.
Where did you find
and
it?
she has become a U.S. citizen, and you can bet she's going to vote this November.
Okay, good.
Ukraine said the inquiry of crash flight MH17 carried out by Dutch authorities proves Russia's direct involvement. Ukraine's foreign ministry has issued a statement labelling Russia as the aggressor for backing separatist rebels. Although the report confirms the missile was fired from separatist-controlled areas, it did not directly accuse Russia of supplying rebels with the missiles.
And finally this week, the 20th Awesome International Arts Festival is on at the Perth Cultural Centre. The festival is aimed at inspiring creativity in young children below 12 years old. There are a number of theatre shows and activities running over the next few days, designed to entertain and inspire children's creativity.
The general public come flooding in, we hope. And so, look, the site will be alive. There'll be activities, theatre, dance, you name it. It's all happening.
That's awesome.
I'm going, that's for sure. And those are the top stories you need to know this week.
We have the latest news on our website and Facebook. Have a great week and good night.
See ya.